No worries. Let me go. So we have two new members. So we're going to go over our initial agreements really quickly. And then
One of them's don't be late.
one of them is don't be late. Yes. All right. So let's get present really quickly, just so we can come in here and make this our action-packed jam filled with value for everybody. So just focus on your breathing to the count of 3 in and 3 out. I'm muting everybody right now. Okay. So the purpose of this call is to create the model for our company's level 3, but to also have a model for you guys after 3 months is complete, where you can say this is the perfect loan process, and it's set up with an accountability measure so that every single person on your team knows exactly what to do. They're the right fit and the right seat for you guys, and then this is really the path to where you guys can all take off. So this is not level 3. This is the creation of level 3. This is a space, and I ask you guys to hold me accountable too, because I've already made a couple mistakes on this. This is a space where I'm not coaching. You guys, I'm not looking at you and clients in this. Your coaching is what we do next week, and any of the normal stuff we do in coaching. I am a participant in this mastermind. I'm leading it, but I'm not a coach in this mastermind. I'm listening as much as anything, really. I'm listening for procedures. I'm listening for everything from a system perspective. I'm listening for the value of this. And what we do is we record these calls, and then my team and I, we spend time, we go through every little one, and we've started to build it. We say, do we need this? Do we not need this? Why? What's the purpose of this? And we do this. So after 3 months is over, after June, in July, we're going to have a built out system for that. That's the best. And for me, it's not about having the best system today. This is about having a best system that will be in effect for the next 5 years, men. So that's the purpose of this call. It is a work call for me, so I'm a little bit different in this sense too, where working Derek is a little bit different than coaching Derek. I'm very, I work quick. So just letting you guys know on that. And so this will it will only go exactly 1 hour. And let me introduce 2 new members, and I want to tell you why I invited these 2 new members. I invited Aaron Crossley last week in coaching. I was speaking with him. A big part of level 3 coaching is where we're going to coach your teams too. And Aaron had on here, he brought in one of his team members, and they were really excited, and they wanted to share right then about what he had done with Process Street and what he was doing with Pipedrive and the integration. And I said, hey, listen, that's all I need to want to invite you. I need somebody that's doing it, that's applying it, that can add value. And so very grateful, Aaron, that you're taking the action, and very grateful that you're here to share. He's going to share today. He's going to be our presenter today, what he does in his system. And then also, literally 2 weeks ago, the second I was done with level 3, this is how I experience, in my faith of God moment. Terry Chenoweth emails me when I'm on, or messages me when I'm on this call, and he has now made a transition to a super high producing team. He's creating systems for, Terry, you could say it for yourself, but I think it's somebody that does well over 100 million, and he has some really awesome stuff. So him and I linked up, and then I've actually hired him as a consultant for us to help build out this. I was super impressed with what he shared, super high level stuff. So very, very grateful to have him on here as well. So does anybody have any questions on our agreements or what we're doing here? Awesome. Aaron Crossley, you are up. Share your screen, my friend. And hold on really quickly. Heather, are you verifying that this is being recorded? Awesome. So share your screen, Aaron, go right through it. I have today's maybe being a little bit shorter than the other ones. We're just going to
I'll kind of go through it the way that you did 2 weeks ago, where I get a new lead in. First thing I do
is
Share your screen. So share the whole thing.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I have to pop them into different windows, I think. Hold on. I'm working off my laptop.
No worries, man.
Let's pull these off of different tabs. I had everything open and ready to go. The first thing I do is put it in Pipedrive. So we'll share that. Oh, share screen. So, I mean, I think most people have seen Pipedrive. The first thing I do is put it in here. As soon as I click add deal here and I start populating this, you know, and then whatever. This stuff feeds over to my process tree.
And you've set up a Zap to do that?
Yeah, so that's the next thing I was going to show.
Yeah, and then can you show like how that shows up there?
Most definitely. Let's see. Yeah, I'll go to the Zap. So, man, this is so much easier with multiple monitors.
Is that how you normally work on multiple monitors?
Yeah, I'm at my home office and I've got my work computer on my 3 screens here, so I'm just working off the screen. Sorry about this, guys. So the Zaps are right here. So minimize that. All right. So right now I only have 4 of them turned on. I turned off on the Slack ones, but so what I've got is the first one's here, the lead checklist and process street. So when a lead comes in, this initiates the lead checklist and process street. I've also got one set up from Pipedrive to Outlook. So this will populate my calendar in Outlook. Whenever I put a reminder in Pipedrive, it puts it in my calendar in Outlook. And then as I progress, you'll see there's a pre-approval and application one. So stopping that to go back to the other thing. So as I drag deals over to like here, that's going to trigger a pre-approval checklist. And then when I take Derek, where the heck did you go? To application, it's going to trigger an application checklist in process street. And then the data inside there feeds over with name, phone number, email. There's not much more data that you can capture from Pipedrive. It picks up the day that you start the lead to. So data.
Can you share those checklists so that everybody, so that like,
yeah, that's the next thing.
Yeah, for the video too, so that we capture it and then we can get it to everybody too.
That's coming up last. Here we go. All right, so now that one's, I mean, I can, those Zaps are, I think, well, oh, wait. Before I get to this, I need to show you guys how I did it because it was a little tricky. So hold on. This is this was the tricky part because I couldn't figure out how to tell the Zap that something had moved from here to here. They have a custom one already built that says if you click new deal, that's a trigger. So what I had to do is go in here and create, oh shoot, this is in the way.
Oh, dude, this is very helpful. I appreciate you sharing this.
Go in here and create filters. So I had to add a new filter in Pipedrive. And I had to put in a condition that, you know, when the deal is in, or when it's in a status, what you do. So activity, I think that's it. Well, I had to, that wasn't it. It must be this one. Shoot, where is it? Well, you have to tell it when it gets to that status, is, and so then you can put in here what you want the status to be. Shoot, I'm not finding exactly how I built it. Maybe I can go edit the ones that I did. But I had to tell it the status is pre-approval triggered or status is application triggered. And then you can see, you can, I don't use this in here, but you can use the filters to just look at when applications have been triggered or just look at when pre-approvals have been triggered. So this is what zaps are using to trigger the zap from here to Process Street.
Huh.
So does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, when you drop it in, it doesn't. There was nothing in the zap to trigger a notification.
Yeah,
something happened, but
right.
it does have a way for some reason of seeing.
So before you even get into checklists, what's the workflow? Do you have that set up with the workflow with your assistant in there too?
Yeah, I have everything in there, but I'll show you the Zap setup so you can see what I mean.
Yeah.
Where do they? So here, so one of the options, well, when you go into the initial thing, one of the options here was deal matching filter, triggers when a deal matches a Pipedrive filter.
Oh, wow.
So then I went in here and I said filter equals application triggered, and that launches this Zap and then sends it over to the right checklist. So, and then I told it to pull in the name and phone number, email. So it's pulling that stuff from Pipedrive. Just a little bit less work for me to do, right?
Yeah, no, I like that. I've got questions, but I'm going to try and shut up and let you finish.
All right, last thing is my checklist. So we'll go into Process Street, and you just want to look at the leads one, right?
Yeah, or just run us through as much as you can. Like, so I apply for a deal, and then
minutes for these things to refresh.
That's what
I don't know if Derek will be in here yet. Oh, since I moved you, you might actually, I think it's going to think you're an application now. Well, anyway, here, we'll just pick the most recent one that came in yesterday. And I built sub checklists in here for everything. So you can see this one, the name and email pulled over from when I put it in last night, phone number, and the date received is in there. I've also got a lead intake form that I've uploaded into the checklist. So a team loan officer, I don't know if this is showing on your screen. Are you seeing the PDF that I'm opening?
It looks like it's now I am. Yeah. Can you scroll through that slowly?
Yeah. So this is just a mini application that I built, one page that if somebody wanted to just go right into an application, this is editable. So you can tab through it and populate this thing.
Okay.
Someone's application right there on your tablet or, on your computer. So I built a little mini app into this. Usually I don't go into a full application on the initial phone call. It's more about getting the idea of what's going on. And so the first page is just contact info. The next one is...
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, of course.
So Aaron, when you have all this, and I think Josh was doing something like this too, where you're putting their information in here, what's the purpose or what is it doing with their phone number and their information? Is it putting it anywhere else or how are you using it?
From Process Street?
Yeah.
It's mostly just to have it stored somewhere.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking. And since I'm already putting it in Pipedrive as like a lead management system, I may as well feed it over to Process Street. And ultimately it does help. And when it triggers an application, it puts that stuff in. And then here, I'll show you. I think this is really helpful for us when we have, it's beyond what we were supposed to talk about today, but I have a checklist. One of our first pages in here is all these contact information, so that it's got my realtor, the listing agent, the buyer's agent. So when my assistant needs to go in and contact anyone, or I do, everything's in one screen.
Okay, I use Slack for that. Okay.
Yeah, and Slack I think does the same idea, but and then the reason I have this lead intake form in here, sometimes people call in and they're like, I'm in contract, I'm having an issue with seller lender, I need to go. And so that's why I put this in. But generally,
can you show? That's what you showed already.
Yeah, right? That's that lead where it's like taking a loan. But usually it's an email. It says, hey, here's introduction from a realtor. Here's John. He's looking to buy a house next month. So anyway, basic contact info. I get that email. I'm going to send them an email with my Calendly link, notify the party, put in any, once I talk to them, I put in any information I get from them about.
Let me ask you a question real quick. How do you get notified when somebody books a call on Calendly? What's their process?
I get an email from Calendly and it puts it in my Outlook calendar.
Got it. Cool.
So this is just, I keep this uncleared until I talk to the borrower. And then I'm going to follow up with a text after I talk to them. I kind of stole this from either Jenny or Allison. And start scheduling follow-ups in Pipedrive, connect on social media, send a mortgage coach, TCA. It's even got the language that we use.
Can you keep that up that's valuable stuff too. So, and guys, we are recording this too, so you can pick it up after that. But yeah, any dialogues is super valuable. So I appreciate anybody sharing that.
I don't have my needs list uploaded here. I have a needs list that I think looks really nice that we attach to this email that says we need your pay stubs and bank statements and all that.
Do you have it like on a Word on your computer that you can share?
It's not on here because I'm on two different computers. I can email it to myself real quick and then get it on the screen. But
yeah, take your time because I just want to highlight everybody what they're currently doing, and
this has really helped me because I think the email starts to get a little busy. So it helped me to put it on an attachment that people could refer back to.
Awesome.
So I will pull one up, but I'll move on to the next step after I send them a total cost analysis, a link to the application, and a needs list, because keep following up in Pipedrive. Mm-hmm. And I think what I'm going to do is build conditional logic into this so it keeps putting tasks in here until they applied for a pre-approval. And I've built a lot of conditional logic into my Process Street checklists.
Okay. Love that. That is a very long-term valuable thing. In the initial stages, you have to go through testing with it, but that is super valuable long-term.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Aaron, do you, so you do the mortgage coach and all before they even apply?
Yeah, because most of my clients are all 800 credit with a big loan amount.
listen to Jenny. Yeah.
I mean, the one I got yesterday was a 935 purchase with an 804 FICO.
Oh my gosh.
Tons of income.
So, and I know I made the agreement not to coach, but Jenny, can you help me out, Coach Aaron, on this? So like Aaron will show up sometimes and he'll be bummed. He compares himself, right? He hears units of other people in the group. And then
doesn't matter. You get paid on volume.
Well, I know. And it'll go like this. He's like, man, I only got like 7 units for 6.5 right now. It's like really bumming me out. I'm like, dude, you have the problem that everybody wants.
That's right.
And it bums him out sometimes. So that's my little, sorry, Aaron. I know I'm not supposed to coach at all. I'm not supposed to coach.
We're doing 4.6 million this month with like 5 units.
See what I mean? And
oh my gosh.
But then he gets really bummed about the 5, which I get, right? But it's still like it's such a great it's the problem that everybody wants.
That's right. That's a great problem, Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So that was really it. I just emailed myself that needs list so I can.
Can you share
it? Pull that up out of the old Gmail here in a second.
So you have 3 different Process Street checklists. You don't have one long one.
Yeah, I do, because in my mind that made sense because that's how I did it in Pipedrive. And I have so many people that are just stuck in that pre-approved status.
Yeah, me too. 54 of them.
So it made sense for me to split it up that way.
See, and I like the idea of Pipedrive when I started, looking at it and that sort of thing.
This is the checklist that we'll send
makes
out.
me consider doing it again. But
so this is we've just built this Word doc with the letterhead looks like it's my letterhead. So I print this to a PDF, but this is the Word doc that we send out, and I customize it after talking to them to exactly what we need. These folks sent me one pay stub and I needed another one and a few other things for a VA loan. But I'm going to attach that in Process Street. I have a running list of things that I have forgotten to do in Process Street. So every week I go down my list and I add to it. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it always is. I'd love to tell you guys that it's going to be done at anything. Even when we build a master, it's still going to be, I'm going to have people on my team that are going to be constantly updating. Because the other thing is this still going on? At least when I was in the industry, it felt like every week they told us we needed something else. Has that slowed down, or is that still?
Like another thing from the borrower?
Or just something else to do.
Yeah.
Big change.
There's another form to fill out. Here's another. Yeah. Oh, the other thing that the next thing for me is to add those videos. I think Allison had like the step-by-step videos for new hires and stuff. Screen capture. That's the last piece that I haven't done. And so in the next 2 months, I'm going to build that out.
Cool.
So I have a spreadsheet with notations on which steps need video. And then I will start compiling them and adding them in Process Street every week as I can. So
awesome. So now I appreciate you sharing all that, Aaron. Now let's turn this into a little mastermind on this topic. Pros and cons of Pipedrive being the initial lead management tool versus what everybody else is using. So let's pro and con this around let's use collective wisdom. I want to hear from everybody. I want to hear.
Do you want me to talk about what I find as the shortcomings of Pipedrive,
yeah, I'd love for you to go last. Okay. As like as a defense of yours, I'd love for everybody to basically, I want to know the conversation that you're having in your head when you watch this. That's what I want to know. So on my screen, I'm showing Jenny first. I'm showing Terry second, Allison, and then Josh. We'll go in that order.
Sorry, my cat's part of the conversation right now.
Awesome. What's up, Cat?
This is Little Cray. And I've never used any of them, so I don't know. I mean, for me, I always immediately go in my mind. I think that's the question.
Yeah.
I immediately go to how can I make this work with Motivator?
Okay. Yeah. Which Motivator, for anybody who doesn't know, that's her CRM. Yeah.
Right.
But in the interest of this discussion this time, Jenny, can we have an agreement that we don't go into Motivator conversation?
Sure.
Then? Because
yeah, I just don't know that I don't have any input on Pipedrive versus Slack because I haven't ever used either one of them.
Okay. Do you see any? Yeah. Well, what would you say then from a consultant standpoint? So what would you say?
I would want something. I feel like for us, we send too many emails back and forth. Mm-hmm. So I need a place where I can type all my notes about when I talk to a client, and Connie can go in and type all her notes when she talks to a client, and I can see those without us having to email stuff back and forth. So I know Slack does that.
Slack is like the greatest tool I've ever used.
I don't know if Pipedrive does that.
Me too. I wish I developed Slack, by the way, but I didn't.
Yeah. That seems to be our biggest hole right now, as we just made an offer to an administrative assistant, so we're adding another person. So the more people you add, I feel like the more crucial it is for us to have one place where everybody puts their notes that triggers. Because like in my CRM now, I can put those notes in there, but it doesn't trigger anybody to know I did anything.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. So even with Aaron's, I don't know if he's integrated Slack yet too, but when I listened to that, I heard email, I heard a different place for something else, and then Slack just becomes I don't even go anywhere else. Everything we run our entire business, even down to all the sales calls everything's linked into that one place.
I like the view of Pipedrive.
If anybody wants to see
I like the view of Pipedrive too. I love that.
I like the visual, but my CRM does that. So
is the visual or does
it has it looks a little bit different, but it has a section for new leads that nobody's talked to yet. It's got a section for working leads where Connie's working on pre-approvals, like they've applied, but we haven't pre-approved them yet. Mm-hmm. It's got a section for people who are pre-approved and they're out shopping. Mm-hmm. And then it's got a section for past clients whose rates are above X amount that I should call.
Got it.
So okay. I get that visual in my CRM, but I don't have the chat feature that Slack has.
Yeah.
That's the best. I'm not sure that I'm real.
And at least from what I understand, look, I'm getting into it, but let's try not to get too detailed on. But from what I understand, you don't have a checklist system inside Motivator either, do you?
No.
Okay. Cool. Do you have anything else that was going through? I really just what's the conversation going through your head when you were listening?
Yeah, that's really all for me.
Terry.
I've been using Pipedrive for quite some time now, 6 to 8 months. And I love it for the simplicity. I mean, literally, if I'm on the phone with someone or I see an email that a borrower has been pre-approved by, I can easily just jump over there and drag and drop it, right?
Mm-hmm.
into the next stage of whatever it is. So
I love that too. And Aaron figured out the integration of Pipedrive with Process Street, because then we have the integration with the Process Street with Slack, and I'm like, is that the model? I don't know. Like I don't know, right? Like this is the mastermind part. I don't know. So I'm looking for pros and cons from everybody.
Yeah, I also love how flexible it is with how you can build out your specific pipelines. And then also within the deal, I like how you can have the different fields that you can change to whatever you want.
So let me ask you a question, because it sounds like you'd be a great resource for this. You're somebody, and Allison is too, you're somebody that has access to Motivator, but you use Pipedrive because why? Is it because of, I don't know. I don't want to put any words in your mouth. I don't know.
Because Motivator basically ties your hands. You're very limited on what you can do with it. Also, to get a person, so for instance, there's only real 4 stages, right? A working lead. Now, a working lead can be anyone that you've made contact with to pre-approved. And it all bulks it in that one group. Where Pipedrive, I have each stage contact made, but I haven't taken an application. I have an application stage, right? So visually, when I look at it, I could quickly go, oh, look at, I got 15 people where I've talked to them, but for whatever reason, we didn't take it any further. And then I can see right next to it, I've taken an application, but I haven't collected any documents, right? Where in Motivator, I don't have those you can't segment them like that. So in order to find that information out, you literally have to click on each deal, and it just feels very cumbersome.
So I'm going to have you present next time, Terry, but just really quickly, just for my own knowledge, because I don't know the answer to this. I've seen your checklists. They're amazing, but you don't have them on a Process Street app. Are they physical? Where do you house those checklists?
So I've taken this checklist here, that's a paper checklist, and I put it into Pipedrive with the fields.
Fascinating. Which that could be one of the things too. You cut out Process Street if you can use Pipedrive into Slack. That could be something.
Good. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not quite as visually whatever the word is, it's not quite as visual as Process Street, right? Process Street's really cool in the sense that when I'm looking at it, I could click on that exact process. Process could have a couple different.
Well, you have sub, and then you can have it's also a way that you can build a big company, right? So for us, you can have training videos on each one, and so we're gonna build a big company. So, but what we're doing is not necessarily what's best for the mortgage industry. So my is always to try to say, okay, this is how I use it, but what's the best for you guys?
Yeah, Terry, is that checklist that you've done in Pipedrive now, is it collaborative, and you can tell who on your team does what on that, like it does in Process Street?
So no, you can't assign a task. So that's where it's limited.
Okay.
And then big, really question, Jenny, did I cut you off?
I'm good.
Can you create a linear model? Is yours a linear model right now? Meaning like a relay race, like somebody starts it and then they hand it off, and the first person's out, the second one does something, and then the third one, can you relay race it, or are you guys working on different milestones at the same time?
No, so we are a relay model right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what, remember Josh, we were talking about that last time? We are going to build that is a non-negotiable for me. We are only going to build a relay model.
Yes. And coming from both platforms, relay model for me in my head and in flow,
it's for everybody.
Way better.
It's not you. You have to build that. You have to build that if you tell me, like if Allison or Aaron or Josh or Jenny says, dude, I'm going to do 25 units a month, or maybe Jenny's already there, but like 50 units a month. I'm going to do, you have to build a relay model, or you can't, there's no way you would go insane. You would go insane if you don't have a relay model at top.
Yeah, yeah. So, so for that, Pipedrive does work because you could create the checklist just like a relay, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I know. I like that about it. I like that, but I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I'm still.
Well, I'll have to show you how it looks. Like
Well,
I
I'm
said,
gonna have you in 2 weeks. I'll have you present the next one. Is it gonna be you? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the key's got to be you got to be able to everybody's got to be able to share it and see it. So it's got to be collaborative, and you have to be able to sign like this. This is Jenny's responsibility. This is Connie's responsibility.
And you have to have the ability to communicate when those are done, and you have to have time-bound accountability measures built in, which you can do through Slack. I haven't seen anything else do that, because the upper level is all about, and I've already seen it in some of your checklists, Terry. Upper level is we do this stage, this part of the relay is 48 hours or 24 hours, or you have to speak, and there has to be a communication mechanism rather than old school, which old school for me was up on the board and I had it, everything here, and then Phil, and I'd be yelling the whole, so now you just don't have to do that.
Right. So Pipedrive does allow you to do that with each individual stage. You could mark it to where after X amount of time that you specify for that specific stage, if that deal sits in that stage for that amount of time, that deal turns bright red.
Wow. See, that's what I'm talking about. Wait, in Pipedrive, it has a mechanism where it turns color?
Yeah, correct.
Wow.
Somebody shared that on the level 2 call last week, Derek. I can't remember who it was. Who was?
Yeah. So for instance, document collection.
Yeah, I've never used Pipedrive, so I didn't have a context. I remember seeing it, but I don't have a context for what that was. Okay. Well, as I say, this is what we're doing here. We're gonna develop. We're gonna figure it out. That's fascinating. It looks like there's pros and cons to both, and I don't know the answer yet. So we're still learning.
The part where I think Pipedrive lacks the most is assigning a certain, like seeing the task, right? So when a lead comes in, we'll call, and let's say I want to assign, let's say it goes to voicemail, and I want to assign another call in tomorrow. It doesn't feel like it's enough priority for Pipedrive in there. So you really got to hunt out. You're really looking for what to do, right? Rather than Pipedrive notifying you what to do. So I think the notification.
See that is exactly what is like. It still feels a little reactive, even the color thing. Like where
Terry, that's why I built that Zap on my Outlook calendar. Was that exactly because I wasn't getting the notification from Pipedrive, but now I have everything consolidated on Outlook, and it's like, that's right. From 2 to 4, I have this call, and it's notifying me on my computer to jump into Pipedrive and get going. So
yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
And then we built it into Slack so that we get a notification, and then it's time bound when the activity is done, and so which then can trigger the next person on the relay, and so that's ours. It works insane. But I'm also curious. I want to listen as much as teach here. So, cool. Anything else, Terry?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a lot of cool features about Pipedrive, but I think the biggest feature is how simple, but it's also its biggest limiting factor too.
Yeah. Fascinating distinction, because that's fascinating. Allison, thanks for sharing, Terry.
I think for me, because I looked into process. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. I looked into Pipedrive before I made. Sorry, I went mute again. I looked into Pipedrive before I made my decisions with which systems I was going to use, and I liked the visual of Pipedrive, but from what I could understand about it, it didn't have the functionality that I was looking for.
Which is?
Just being able to have a running checklist of this is what we do, and having everybody be able to see it. But I do find like I get overwhelmed with this where I'm like, crap, am I doing the right system? Have I set my systems in place correctly? Am I going to have to go back and do Pipedrive? Is that a better option for me? Because visually I liked Pipedrive, but when I started working on it, it didn't quite mesh with what I was hoping to do.
I'm like, what went through my mind, and I don't know if it's achievable, is if Pipedrive was the initial part, and then when it moved, what Aaron was doing, then you set it Zap to checklist like Aaron's are doing, and then you use.
And see, and I think that part is where it could be very, and that's where I was like, oh crap, do I need to be doing this differently? But what I do is I kind of just start my leads in Slack.
Yeah,
and then
I know.
Process street checklist. Then I go put stuff in my CRM and just do things like that. So I think the only thing that Pipedrive does that I haven't been able to accomplish with maybe my CRM is just the visual of seeing it like this,
I love that visual too. I loved it. Yeah.
And and that's the thing where with the CRM I went to with all clients, I built my own campaigns for leads, for credit challenge, for all of that. And so I don't know. I'm a I don't know.
Allison, you don't use Slack as your CRM. You have an additional CRM.
Yeah.
You really have three. You have Slack.
Slack's
you
a
have
communication.
Or CRM.
Slack's just a communication tool. I mean, I can show you guys again if it helps you just to see how I
get it. I just wanted to make sure you've got, because for me, that's the block too, because of Motivator. So I have to think, I still need a CRM, even if I have Slack and Process Street.
Yeah, I went to all clients because I wanted to create my own personalized campaigns with videos of me, not just their canned templates.
Yeah.
And that's why I went to all clients, because when they open up an email, the video stays in the email instead of taking them to YouTube. So that was the main.
Does all clients sync with Slack and Process Street though?
No, but I don't need it to.
Okay.
At least I haven't found the need, I guess, and it's probably just because I put a step in there that took care of it. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like we're sitting here talking about all these different things, and it's like there's good.
Don't let it overwhelm you. Oh, yeah, but remember, don't let this overwhelm you. Like if something's working for you, keep doing it. Again, the mastermind is only a component for.
No, and I think that's kind of what I'm coming to. Is it's like Pipedrive works really well for certain things, but like with what I've created, it would be hard to replace some of those things with something like Pipedrive.
This is what I will tell you, and I want to say this publicly, is you're the only one that has a leverageable system right now that you could go to 200 units a month.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Our checklists are, 150 steps.
And I think I've told you guys that. So when I started day one, I hired somebody, I think you guys met her, Laura, and her only job was to build the machine. So it was, someday, I don't know when, we're going to have 1,000 clients. We need to build the systems now to house that. And we have it and everything's built like this. So you have the only one that I've seen that you can plug in, like literally you can plug and play as you go. Yeah.
And that's what I'm really trying to develop, all of those pieces, even with my training, that everything is plug and play. I always think of the phrase you say, this is how we do it here.
Yeah.
I think the other benefit to Allison's too is it's mobile. Mm-hmm. No matter where she goes, no matter where she works, she can take it with her, and it works.
Yeah, because you remember last time you go like,
if I base it all on Motivator, I mean, I love Fairway. I have no plans to leave Fairway, but who knows, right? Yeah. And so if I'm basing all my stuff on Motivator, I'm setting myself up to not be in a good place if I ever leave Fairway.
And not that you guys care, but so far I've come to the conclusion that I'm probably going to stay away from anything CRM based, because what I found out really quickly is there's a lot of CRMs are political, and CRMs, it's big business. So the competition, it's fierce. So what we're setting out to build is that initial place to the CRM part. And then I could take like Allison right now would be the easiest to coach for me in level 3, because it's right fit, right seat for her. After that, it's right person in the right seat, and here are the job duties, and so I can take her. I would feel 100% comfortable in her in level 3 and being like, okay, you tell me the number and I'll show you how to get there. You just need coaching right now. So the system, and then for anybody else that ever wants to do level 3, it's going to be duplicatable like this. You got to build this. We'll build it for you, but this is what you have to do. And then it's right fit, right seat, and be in coaching so that you're becoming a better leader. But
I think
but I'm not saying that I
No.
still want to learn, though. You know what I mean? Like, I still want to learn it to see if there's something better, though.
Well, I think with the things that Aaron and Terry are doing in Pipedrive, in a lot of ways, as long as you're doing something where it's organized and keeps you on task, and it works for you.
It's amazing, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I spent all of last year perfecting these and for my team.
Well, all of you guys, let me just say, all of you guys are like 99.9% better than the rest of the population. So I'm not minimizing anybody, and I don't want anybody to change either. My initiative is, as I say, is just to build something that's fully leverageable, that can be plug and play, that it's all virtual. So and then it's built on a relay system.
Derek, I think the feedback I've gotten from my team that might be helpful for you is the fewer systems, the better.
I know.
Or at least they have to talk to each other, because what frustrates them as I dialogue with them about this, they're like, so we got to do Slack and then Process Street and then Motivator and then Encompass. Like, wow.
I know.
So the fewer the better, I think, if we could come to that result.
Yeah, but when we set it out, Slack, you said like Slack talks to our emails. You can work everything in Slack. So, and then Process Street so far is the best thing that I've seen with being able to house an entire company on a checklist system built with built-in accountabilities with training modules. So that, again, using Allison for example, once she has it built, then it's like, okay, I'm hiring an outside LO. Well, the next problem she has is how are you going to train them? How are you going to manage them? Blah, 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 right? But she can go, okay, cool. Here's your entire job duties. Here's your entire training. Here's your entire checklist. Here's your da-da-da, go, right? So that's what I mean. I can talk to Allison about right fit, right seat, right? Like, how do you find that person and put them in the right thing? Which is what we're going to do a lot in level 3 too, like with personality tests and all that stuff. But until somebody has a plug and play, you're going to get bogged down. And you're going to make wrong hires, and you're going to waste time.
And Jenny, I'm totally the same way, where you're like, I wish that I didn't have 3 or 4 different systems, but Slack and Process Street work so well together because of Zapier, that almost feels like one thing to me, like one system. And then I have my CRM. And that's the one that's sending my emails and my campaigns.
But then you have your LOS. It's almost like 4 is the minimum.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to have an LOS.
Right.
And it's like, and you kind of have to have something that's sending emails.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is just checklists to make sure the phone goes well. But like the checklists, I mean, my processors, honest, like Laura, she would kill me if I got rid of Process Street at this point. It is her jam. She loves it. When she checks the final one off, confetti flies and she feels all great, And so it's like for a processor-minded person, Process Street is amazing. And on mine, my loan officer duties are the first 10 things. And then as much as I can, I'm out. I come back in at the end for the thank you call and, a few things like that. But the rest of it is mostly like, here's your processing step.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something political right here, so this stays between us. But you guys are going down this road already. If you went to a company and you said, okay, we're going to start with your LOS system and make it completely, and you build everything out from one system, Jenny, then what happens is then the company owns that entire thing. And when the company gets sold or the company goes out of business, you lose everything. And everybody loves their company, want everybody to stay at their company. I love the companies you guys are at. But the reality is the mortgage market's always changing. It's hard to forecast 5 or 10 years, anything you do. And if you only have one built on a company's LOS system, you don't have a business. You're an employee. And when I talk like that and to CEOs, they want to punch me in the face. But I'm just speaking the truth. And like that's just
Yeah. That's why I said what Allison has is really the best for mobility.
yeah. And you like, even let's not even use that word. Let's just say in the like, because I want to be in conjunction with, I want you guys to stay right. Like I don't want any kind of
But let's just say the company closed down, then you got to go.
That's all I mean. You don't, right? Yeah. Like, so this is how I say it when the CEO is like, can you not stay? Okay. My allegiance is, it's not my allegiance. It's not that. It's just that my clients are the sales force. And so I just think about you guys for that. But that's the reason why, Jenny, even an LOS system built it all out. I don't know if I wouldn't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Because then I would be like, everything, my whole, like all my, everything is like, goes away. Like,
yeah. So you're saying there's value into having several different systems.
There is value in having several different systems because, and again, I don't want it to be against anything because it's not like that. It's just like, this is my truth is you have to be able to own something to get pure alleviation of anxiety, like, and for you to have a part of your business that, God forbid, something happens, and any of your companies can be bought by a hedge fund, and they could change everything immediately and be like, okay, cool, now you guys make 32 basis points. And if you don't have a frame on, hey, I can go. If you don't have something, a negotiation, if you don't have anything, then you're like, wow, I lose my database and system and training and all that. So what we're setting out to build is something that you guys would own. So I'd never want anybody to change anything like that. I just want you guys to have the peace to know that you guys own something in the process as well. That's all. Is that fair for like, I know CEOs, that's why they really want to kick me when I talk like that. So don't say that, but cool. Josh.
So I looked at Pipedrive 2 when everybody first started talking about it, and I chose not to do it at the time for the reason that my CRM, I feel like, does most all of that. Mm-hmm. But I love the visual. Mm-hmm. What I'm seeing and feeling more and more as I listen to everyone and as I think about my own business is that I feel like we have to have our own CRM because all this stuff is going to overlap with the CRM. And I think we just need to deal with the fact that our companies might not give us the API to link with the Milestones and Encompass. And we just have to do that internally with our team, because that is like, when I think about Flowify, I'm like, well, I have a system that's my company based that does most of that. When I look at Pipedrive, I'm like, my company has a thing that does most of that. And so, we're going to be piecemealing things, and then our companies having pieces. And then, like you said, if they go out of business or sell, or there's a leadership change, or they cut your pay and you have to make a move, then you're reinventing your whole system like that. And I think that's a strategic error. I think that the CRM has to be built into this. That's where my mind is at right now.
So funny. This call always morphs to that discussion. Have you guys figured that out yet? So
that's what I'm saying. Like
the last 3 times the call has come to this discussion at the end. And I even was like, let's not go there. Because
I don't want to do the work of making the campaigns that Allison did. That's the honest truth. But I feel like the more I think about it and the more I hear, like the more I like every struggle comes back to, well, the CRM does that. Well, my company thing does that. Well, and then so I'm going to have a 60% system, and then the other 40% is I'm counting on my company to keep it even. And that I think it's a strategic error, and we probably need to think about integrating a CRM, whether it's all clients or something else, because video is like, even with our CRM, like we keep asking, hey, are you going to have video? Yeah, we're going to have video. It's been like a year and a half and they still don't have video. So, it's, as much as I don't want that to be the answer, I feel like that is the answer.
Terry, let me go to you. What do you think when you listen to that whole thing? I can't believe we're on this discussion again.
I know. I'm sorry to take it there, but I mean, that's the...
I've always felt like that. I had, as you know, rough year with having to move companies 3 times. Actually 4 if you count the company going under.
Because of companies going out of business and that stuff, or getting bought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And using their proprietary CRMs and stuff, and then having to try to scramble to export the database. And sometimes you have to email some admin to do it for you. Like they don't give you access to that to be able to do it yourself. So in that case, if a company goes out of business overnight, which can happen, I've been there, your whole database is gone. You never get it.
Or you lose the interest rate information or the loan amount information or something. They always give you your stuff but in a watered down way.
Right. Right.
And honestly, as companies are, using margin compression and market conditions as an excuse.
Okay, but let me just jump in right now. Like, I don't want this to go too much farther on this because this gets extremely political.
It gets
it gets very political, and I don't want to be the conduit to create a political, backlash from anybody. So I just want to hear, and I hear that, and I totally appreciate that. As far as our company is concerned, I'm not sure if we're going to endorse a CRM or not. For the time being, I'm not. But that doesn't mean that we won't go to that. I just don't want it to get into a me against them thing when you start using margin compression, right? And then it's like, it's a very emotional business, and then you guys could get in trouble really quickly too.
Derek, I think people get 2 things confused, and there's lead management systems and CRMs, and they all end up being called CRMs.
Yeah.
But I was focused on a lead management system, and that's what Pipedrive was for me.
Yeah, and I think that's what Allison has built, right? And that's our focus is going to be on lead management for at least through June. I couldn't stand before you and say we can build a CRM by July anyway.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. I've built out Pipedrive to where it has information like FICO score. It has information like monthly payment, the loan product type. It has all that information.
So you have the ability to keep data, and
yeah, correct.
And still, that might be a solution there too.
Still using the company's proprietary CRM for the campaigns.
But can you search it? Can you search like borrowers with a rate over X, like conditional like that?
Yeah, so you can create, I don't know, search isn't the right word, but Aaron touched on it a little bit. You can create fields that will pull through.
Like a filter?
A filter, thank you. So you could go to that specific, and the filters are limitless. You can create as many as you want. So yes, short answer.
And we got Terry on staff, so don't you guys worry about it. We're paying him, so he gets to help us, so don't even worry. We will build the model. My gut is we're going to stand what Aaron said, lead management. I couldn't stand before you and say I can have CRM done by July anyway. So lead management's going to be done by July. After that, the CRM discussion I think is going to be ongoing, but it is a lot deeper than anything just on a surface level. But we'll figure that out, guys. We're at 11:59. Does anybody else have anything?
Yeah, real quick, Derek. I was going to say, I think where people jump to where they think it needs to be a CRM all in one is what Jenny touched on, where people's brains want to stay on only one system.
Right. I know. Yeah.
Well, I just feel like we got a lot of duplicate data, like duplicate data entry, duplicate stuff in more than one place, and that feels clunky to me.
And that's a very valid point as well. So I definitely
They just have to talk to each other. If they're separate systems, it's fine. They just have to communicate.
Yeah, so I think with the linear system, the way I see it, you can have 3 or 4 different things, but not everyone's going to use all of them. There's a little bit of overlap with maybe a team loan officer or what have you, but like I envision there will be people that just see Process Street and the LOS, or they just see a lead management system and they don't overlap into other things. And I think that it seems like to us there's a lot of systems, but I think of the linear process, you're going to have people that just reside in one system or another, and they all end up touching the LOS.
On that note, Jenny, in Slack, I have created 3 separate workspaces, which is essentially, some people aren't involved in some of them. And I'm creating one just for my admin and me that's going to connect to a Process Street checklist that we both keep each other on. That is a lot of the lead management and clerical type stuff that the processor don't need to have any involvement in. And so you can create separate work spaces within them, like I have a leads can be fun workspace and a loans can be fun workspace. And then I'm going to have, my job duties every day checklist or, workspace. So
really quickly in 4 seconds or less, how do you feel? You didn't, because you're not using a company CRM. That's a opinion, right? Okay.
Oh, I started with Motivator and I got rid of it, but it was for different reasons. It felt like my stuff went into a black hole and I had no idea what was going on with it. But that was more just my visual not being like, it didn't appeal to me. And I couldn't send videos and I had to get permission to send bulk emails out. And I was like, this is garbage.
Derek, can I ask a question? Are a lot of you using like a scheduled email campaign for your leads, or I know Allison really is.
Yeah.
Well, what I did on my campaigns is I built up, certain videos that go out, but in between those, I put reminders to call or to reach out in between there. And and then I get an email every day that tells me what I'm supposed to be doing that day.
So guys, in the interest of time, we do have to keep it just to an hour this time. This was a super awesome. Terry, you're going to present in 2 weeks. We'll follow the same format again, and then we'll open it up for masterminding after this. I learned a lot. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I hope that you guys learned a lot, and it's going to be fascinating to see how this all comes together. But I can tell you this, it definitely will. We got 8 weeks, so it will come together. But the path there is wild and fun. So you guys have a great day. I'll coach each and every one of you guys next week, and we'll see you later.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys.